In this video, we're going to be connecting a ControlLogix 1756 ENBT/A module. It uses the EtherNet IP protocol to communicate. So this is a communication module. We're going to be connecting to it through our laptop over here. It has Rslinx Classic. So Rslinx Classic, just opened here on the screen right now. Rslinx Classic contains the communication drivers to talk to that module, and this is required if you're going to do any programming or anything on the PLC. So the controller here you can see for a PLC, it also has a DB9 serial port, but that uses RS-232, which is a lot slower than Ethernet. So typically, to communicate, we use, or almost always use, the EtherNet IP module. So first off, if it's already set up, we've got this ETH IP driver that's already set up here in Rslinx Classic, and you can see that it's discovering our 1756 ENBT/A module. Right here is the IP address, and dotted decimal notation 169.254.11.2 is the IP address. That IP address will also be scrolling across the screen of the Ethernet IP module. So let's just have a quick look. 169.254.11.2. Perfect. Okay, so let's first, because this here driver is not always set up, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just remove this driver. Are you sure I want to remove this node? Yes. Oh yeah, to do that though we need to go right click. So I'm going to right click on this, go to configure driver. Sorry, not configure driver. Properties, I believe. Nope, not properties. What am I looking for? Yeah, it should have been configure driver. That is not. No, not there. Sorry. Communications configure drivers. That's what I wanted. That's what I was looking for. Sorry, guys. Okay, so here is that ETH IP driver. It's just back over here. We're going to stop it. I can't remove it until it's stopped. So stopped. And now let's delete it. So there, you can see it's gone. So let's start from scratch. We're going to assume that Rslinx Classic was just installed and this would not be here. So to get that Ethernet IP driver, we'd have to go to Communications, Configure Drivers. There's a drop-down menu right here, and we select Ethernet IP driver. Add New, and it's going to say what do you want to call this driver. We'll just leave it as a default name, AB, which stands for Alan Bradley, and then ETH IP-1. So if we had more than one of these drivers set up, it would go -1, -2, -3, and so on. Click OK. So here's kind of the key thing. We want to make sure that we select the right Ethernet port. You can see it has a description over here on the left, and on the right an IP address. If we scroll down, we have a few IP addresses. This one right here is the wireless card on our laptop. We do not want to use that. This one here is the Ethernet port on the computer, which is located right here on the side. And these others are used for a virtual machine software that we have installed on the laptop. We will not be using that. The key thing, you can see it starts 169.254. That here, this IP address, the first two numbers are identical to the first two numbers of our 1756 ENBT module that's in the PLC. It was, I believe, .0.2. So we'll click OK. Close. And if we drill down, there's our card. It already found it. We can right click on the card and go to device properties. Sorry, not device properties. I wanted to module configuration. That's what I wanted. So module configuration, because I wanted to look at this port configuration. If you click on port configuration, here has the IP address for the module. So 169.254.11.2, I think I said .0.2, it's .11.2. And it's set up for static. That means this IP address will never change. If it was set for dynamic, that means this IP address could change depending on what network it's connected to. The server would give it an IP address. You can see this network mask is set up for 255.255.0.0. This means this 255.255 indicates that these top two numbers need to match on the computer or any other device that wants to talk to this module. Otherwise, it'll ignore it. And then the 0 indicates these two numbers can be any number, and it will still talk to it. We have some settings down here to auto-negotiate the port speed. So that's checked on. So that means with EtherNet, the port older versions of Ethernet are slower than newer versions, and so they'll talk back and forth and say, okay, this is the speed we want to talk at. So we don't need to change anything. We'll click cancel. And now, if we drill down to the back plane and out, here's our controller, the PLC controller, and this is what we're most likely going to want to talk to when we are working in our programming software called Rslinx 5000. So this here is the very first step you want to do before talking to or programming a PLC. We want to make sure that we can actually see the controller in Rslinx Classic.